I think that everyone still talks about it because Liverpool fans never stop talking about it. They've literally never stopped talking about bloody Istanbul.
You know, you've got to hold the L for simply just not being good enough as a football club.
Nah, you guys are mean, man. You guys are mean.
Hello everybody, it's that time of the week again. Hold the L, the brand new football debate show on the Super 6 YouTube channel. My name is Flav, and this is a show where it's not about getting a dub, it's making sure you're not the one left holding the L. Before we get into the show, I want to remind you who held the L the last time out. I think Van Dijk is the best Premier League defender. I like watching him play more than any other. Now, the answer was Akeem. It should have been Akeem. 3 of us unanimously voted for Akeem because he suggested that Vidic was the best Premier League defender in the history of the competition. But you lot went over to the community page, didn't you? And you decided to vote for me, didn't you? 59% of you decided to vote for me. Like, I suggested that Van Dijk could be the best Premier League defender, and 59% of you thought that I was worthy of holding the L because of that statement. Something's going on there. Something very fishy, and I don't like it. On the show this week, we have NiiNii, we've got Akeem from Cheeky Sport and Paul from Redmen TV. And the question this week is, what is the greatest Champions League moment in the history of the competition? 20 seconds on the clock. Go.
I think just in terms of longevity and in terms of being the greatest Champions League final and obviously the greatest Champions League comeback of all time as well, I've gone for the miracle of Istanbul. Take your pick from that game. It could be Jerzy Dudek. He not only got a dance after him, but he got a top charting pop single off the back of Do 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 the Dudek with Steven Gerrard's big header, Clive Tildesley. Hello, here we go.
Greatest Champions League moment of all time, greatest moment of all time. Man United in 1999 against Bayern Munich. And Solskjaer has done it, the greatest moment ever. I don't even know if it was the fact that United didn't have 2 of the best players, Scholes and Keane, or if Beckham moving in the middle and Sir Alex Ferguson's amazing tactics to blow away Bayern Munich.
Easily, without a doubt, one of the greatest UCL moments was the 2-2 draw against Barcelona. Why? Because it's one of the greatest underdog stories of all time. In the first half, Terry gets sent off, we're down 2-0 as well. And if this is a weaker club, that's their dreams over, but we still found a way to push through, and the rest is history, you guys. So for me, easily one of the greatest UCL moments of all time.
For mine, obviously, I haven't got a great deal of to choose from, but Tottenham Hotspur beating Ajax in Amsterdam. We needed 3 goals in the second half. We had no Harry Kane for both legs, and yet we did it. And I think without a shadow of a doubt, it is the greatest moment in Champions League history. I think the best place to start would be with you, Paul. It was a fantastic moment. I remember watching it back in the day, 3 goals down. It was out, you're dead and buried. And it was incredible, to be fair. Go on, talk us through why it was such a special moment.
Yeah, well, literally everyone, you had, depending on what channel you watched it on, you had the presenters all saying Liverpool done, dead and buried. And there was that massive feeling of like embarrassment. That team wasn't good enough to win a European Cup. It engineered its way there with some magic performance and bits of luck and whatever along the way. So you get there and you go 3-0 down and you go, oh my God. Like it was, you're like, all of your worst fears realised in front of your eyes. And it goes in at half time. Obviously, all the famous stories of Rafa having a word, and you can hear the fans singing, "You never walk alone." I personally ran round the walkabouts, cuddling people and telling them it was going to be okay. And then when the goal starts to go in again, you can't help but get lost in the thrill of football in that regard, and to come back and then to get it to 3-3, and then you've got Jerzy Dudek making these unreal reflex saves, Jamie Carragher pulling his groin twice in the space of about a minute, goes off the pitch, gets treatment, comes on, does it again, goes off, comes back on again. It's just, everything about it is just heroic. It's everything you love about sport. Even putting aside, sort of club rivalries and what have you, it's the one that people around the world always talk to me about. And yeah, 2005, I was in the prime of my life. And yeah, it is an absolute touchstone moment in my life and in footy as well.
I think that everyone still talks about it because Liverpool fans never stop talking about it. They've literally never stopped talking about bloody Istanbul.
Yeah. Well,
go.
True, absolutely. Wouldn't you? You're talking about Ajax, mate. You guys are still talking about that game where Gareth Bale played quite well against Inter Milan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but what a game though. What a performance.
He ran quite fast against Machin. Amazing, well done.
Machin was the best right back in the world at the time. That was the best game I've ever lost in my life. It was fantastic. Yeah. Gareth Bale hat-trick. I was in the stadium as well, and it felt like we won, which pretty much sums up what it's like to be a Spurs fan. Akeem, you've got something to say about Munich, right? I mean, this was a big comeback. Was it better than Istanbul?
Yeah, it was better than Istanbul, purely just because I think the route to the final, United playing on all fours fronts, of course, in the FA Cup, and going for the league as well. At that point, of course, won both before getting to the final. But the Champions League final route was very, very difficult. Of course, a lot of people didn't remember that Bayern Munich was in the group. So was Barca. Went through both of them, had a much harder route to the final than Bayern Munich did in Inter and Juve, as well as not having two of the best players, for the final, which was Scholes and Keane, both out for the final for different reasons. Well, for both suspensions, and really kind of being quite light-handed in midfield. Against a very, very good Bayern Munich midfield. And to be honest with you, I think one of the best things about that game, a little bit like Istanbul, was just the fact that, we were being absolutely battered for most of the game. I think they hit the crossbar twice. They could have scored 3 or 4. And they got too confident. There was a moment when I think Lizarazu went off and they started, high-fiving, or Effenberg started high-fiving each other, thought the game was done, all laughing, sitting down in the subs bench. And I think that was one of the best moments, actually, that I remember, alongside those 2 goals. And obviously seeing Samuel Kaffour sitting and crying at the end of the game alongside the rest of the Bayern Munich players that just couldn't believe that somehow they let this game slip out of their...
This is the thing. I think the thing that binds all of us here, the only thing we can agree on here, is that the greatest thing was smashing their self-assurance and their smugness because they thought they'd already done it. That's something that all of us share in our stories here. NiiNii, I'm not trying to be an idiot here. I'm not trying to be mean or trying to provoke you. Your choice was the game with Chelsea and Barcelona. I don't really even remember it.
Is this the Neville-gasm game?
Wow, yes, the Neville-gasm game. Torres right at the end, skipping past Valdez. How can you forget such an iconic moment like that? I mean,
because it wasn't that iconic. It wasn't that iconic. That's all I'm saying.
Sure, one of the most iconic moments because we shouldn't have won that game. Barcelona, I've never seen a team pepper us that bad before. I've never seen a team hit the post that many times before in my life. Over 2 legs, it was like 6-7 times they hit the post, but we still found that resilience, and that was like the ultimate test to break through, of course, to get to the final, and then the rest is history. So
we all had that though. We all had that experience. What makes your one the most,
I think it elevates it because we won the Champions League, the only club in London to do so. So I think obviously by beating Barcelona, that's what allowed us to cement ourselves in the history books. So, yeah, that was one of those impossible games where you play that game 100 times. We probably lose it 99 times out of 100. But that one time was all we needed. And that was enough, to be honest.
I mean, I'm going to go with, obviously, Spurs and Ajax, as I mentioned. And there's so many storylines around this Champions League campaign. Not least, just 3 weeks earlier or 4 weeks earlier, we'd done Manchester City without Harry Kane over 2 legs, and then we've lost the first leg 1-0. Still don't have Kane. Go into the second, go 2-0 down in the first half against Ajax, and we need 3 goals away from home, and we don't have our talismanic striker. We don't even have a striker on the pitch until Llorente comes on. So the fact that we managed to do that, unfancied, no one gave us a chance, and then get through to the final. I think while I probably was being a little bit hasty in saying it could be held up with what Liverpool did or with Man United did. There's no way that I've got to hold the L this week for this suggestion. I don't think.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like obviously that moment you had as a Spurs fan, of course, it's an iconic moment for you guys, but we've had multiple ones like that over the years playing the Champions League. So
no, you haven't.
That's nothing too new for us in that sense. So
what is this us? Is this some sort of alliance here? Might be for you.
On behalf of all the Chelsea fans right now. I mean, there's so many iconic games where we've been, the underdogs. It was impossible for us to go through it, which we've done a few times. I'm thinking about the Napoli game. I'm thinking about the games versus Barcelona. I'm thinking about
but I don't know. Only Chelsea fans remember those games, right? I don't know what you're talking about when you're saying that stuff. Paul
Yeah.
and Akeem, you all know what Ajax is about. You all know what we did in Ajax.
Yeah, only because it happened the other day. That was the only reason.
Paul, back me up.
Yeah, well, I only remember it because it was the other semi-final and we were in the other one, and you just robbed us of having what would have been a much more interesting Champions League final of Liverpool Ajax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, at least respect the fact we got there. Don't take that away from me.
No, and it was I'm sure it was a great moment for you. But no, I think it's tough. I'm quite interested. I'm quite happy for me. I think me and Akeem will quite happily sit back and let you two sort of scrap it out there.
Yeah, I think we've just.
I'm feeling content myself.
With the fact that I think we summed up with the fact that you two have chosen moments that have ended in slight wins or technical draws in not even finals, has pretty much just summed up, the fact that you two definitely be slogging it out for holding the L this week.
No.
For me, we definitely have so many iconic moments in this reference from that. I wanted to find the most important one. I think it was that Barca game, because without, overcoming that, impossible opponent, then nothing happens. We don't get any Champions League win, and we've deserved it because we've been getting into finals regularly, getting into semi-finals as well, and it just felt like that was like our destiny in that sense. So that was definitely one of the most iconic games, that 2-2 draw against Barca.
Whose side is the most weakest out of the four? Who would you say had the weakest first 11?
Oh,
What, really?
Liverpool's by a mile.
Tottenham's
maybe.
by a mile.
Maybe Liverpool's.
I'd say ours was probably weak. I'd probably say we had guys like Basunguas in the back line. We had a few. I think Ramirez, like a few players in that team. Yeah. So this is what makes it even more memorable.
You spent a fair bit of money though to build that team.
Basungo was like a £30 million.
I think Basunga was less, but we've all spent money here, you guys. Let's not pretend like money is like an issue anymore.
We haven't.
A ton of money.
We genuinely haven't. That's part of the problem. That's why we didn't have a suitable centre forward to come on. Look, I mean, this is going to go down to the vote for sure, and I guess Paul and Akeem are going to get away with it, and I guess it will be about us. NiiNii.
Get away with it.
Yeah. It was always going to come down to us. Let's be serious. It was always coming down to me.
And
like we've cheated. Love that. Like we've cheated. You want us to pick a worse moment.
But look, in terms of holding the L, it's not always necessarily what the right answer is. It's also about, Akeem, you think yours is the best. Paul thinks his is the best. I've got to side with Paul. NiiNii, who do you think was the best Champions League win?
Between Akeem...
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to go for Liverpool. I think it's one of the iconic ones. So
if anything, Akeem might need to hold the L.
Don't try and spin it.
I'm just opening the floor to debate.
Don't try and spin it. Look, we know. Look, everyone respects what Liverpool done in Istanbul, but I think just the fact that the way United had to get to that game and the way that United won it in the last 2 or 3 minutes, it was more dramatic. Liverpool had 45 minutes plus extra time to bail themselves out, which was incredible, but they had plenty of time. United had 3 or 4 minutes. They had one corner that they had to get right. They had another swinging ball that they had to get right.
Exactly the same as Tottenham. Exactly.
Yeah, we had Milan Baros,
so that's the difference.
and Igor Biscan and Jimmy Traore.
Top players.
Shut up.
Underrated.
They had Kaka and Gattuso and Crespo and Stam and Maldini. It was ridiculous. Seydorf.
Perfectly weighted. You're both.
Oh my God! Yeah, ridiculous.
Didn't Smeets play as well?
Yeah, come on. The best thing he ever did in his entire career was getting out of the way. Yeah.
Okay. Anything that NiiNii? I think you still need to defend yourself somewhat. I don't know if you're,
Yeah, because I just wanted to say quickly for NiiNii. Let's be honest. If it wasn't for that Neville-gasm, I don't think anyone would remember that game.
Really? That really surprises me. I thought that was obviously a lot more iconic than maybe I even realised myself. I was going to go for the Champions League final, but I thought that would be too easy, to be honest.
It's not even the most iconic win by an English club against Barcelona.
But it was like one of the best storylines in recent memory for me, because it was just how ridiculous Barcelona were, how we were at our weakest, how we had injuries, how we had men sent off, and we weren't supposed to win that game at all, to go through and to consider that was like the final last hurrah for so many of like the club's, you know, former legends like your Drogbas and Lampards. This was the final opportunity to, you know, get a trophy that these guys have deserved to win over the past few years for how they've competed in the competition, and to do that against a Barca team, you know, where so many moments, Messi hitting the top of the crossbar, could have made it 3-1 without the game. Petr Cech making incredible save after incredible save. Messi hitting the post right near the end as well. The Ramirez chip from that Lampard 1-2, one of the best. I mean, no one saw that coming. That was one of the best goals I saw, and that gave us hope. And then right at the end, Fernando Torres had such a terrible spell with us, was able to get some glory in those final moments, you know, receiving that ball from Ashley Cole, skipping past Valdez, and then that Gary Neville orgasm comes right in the end. So just complete what was an incredible, like, you know, incredible storyline, incredible moment of football.
Gary Neville orgasm. Yeah, I mean, I think the away draw at the Nou Camp that Spurs got in the group stages was more impressive. That's how unimpressed I am with you, NiiNii.
That took us to the final. That's a completely different pressure. The semi 10 men, John Terry getting himself sent off for no reason. There's so many things that to align in our stars for us to do the impossible. And
in fact, is Terry lifting the trophy a more iconic moment? When he shouldn't have been.
Come on,
I remember that.
I was going to say, look, everyone remembers that. Everyone talks. I asked footballers about that, and they still.
You guys are mean, man. You guys are mean.
Right, you've heard what everyone's had to say, but before we get into the votes, we want you to do us a favour. I want you to download the Super 6 app and come and take the boys on in the Super 6 mini league. Jeff Stelling gives away 250 grand. I don't have that. I've got £250. And to win it, you need to come up against us and be top of the league at the end of each month. All you got to do to join the league is use the password HOLDTL. Come and take the boys on. Let's see what you know about football. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Right, let's find out who held the L this week. Sorry, NiiNii, it's you holding the L this week. I don't even really remember that game. I'm kind of sort of aware of it, but I don't really remember it. All of us remember Ajax. And while it might not be as big as Istanbul or the Bayern Munich game for Man United, it's definitely bigger than that game that you played against Barcelona.
Wow, okay. Look, Flav, I've tried my very hardest to try and get a few digs at NiiNii for you there, but it can't possibly be him, it can't be Akeem, and it can't be me. It has to be Flav who holds the L this week. It's not his fault that he supports Tottenham, he's just unlucky. But yeah, you know, we could have all picked 10, I think, iconic moments bigger for our football teams than the one Flav has picked. So sorry, Flav, but you've got to hold the L. Love you though.
So whilst NiiNii did try and make it a little bit more competitive, choosing a random game instead of a final, Flav, come on, you know, you're choosing a game, a semi-final against Ajax as, you know, your greatest moment. It's so Spursy. It's too Spursy for that matter. And, you know, you've got to hold the L for simply just not being good enough as a football club.
Yeah, of course, Flav, you're an amazing guy, great guy. But unfortunately, man, you're going to have to take the L again. Yeah, I just think the fact that, you know, for Spurs, one of the most iconic moments is a semi-final. I think that kind of sums everything up, to be honest. And you know what? I think you've heard enough against your club right now. I don't want to pile on even more. But unfortunately, man, you're going to have to take the L.
Guys, you realise we've just lost the cup final yesterday. You realise the pain I'm in already. Don't care, do you?
Sorry, mate. We're on the path actually where we might have to petition that the first letter of your first name gets decapitalised and the L gets capitalised in Flavia moving forward.
Just called Larry. Called Larry from now on. Look, just because you guys think I get the L, don't mean that in the community tab they were going to vote for me. Last week, or the last episode we had, all three of us thought Akeem held the L. Go into the community tab, and again, they thought I did. Anyway, thanks again. Thanks once again, you guys, for being part of the Hold the L. And remember that it's your decision, your input that's most important. If you go over to the community tab, vote there, and we'll find out next week who actually held the L. And I don't think it will be me, despite this yet again another pillaring that I've taken on this show. I'm not even sure why I'm doing it anymore, to be honest. See you next week.